And as I explained to you guys when we first met, the premise of Bonfire Health is that your health is your bonfire, right? And it's where your light and your heat and your energy comes from, so everybody wants a bigger bonfire. And the way that you eat is your fuel, and the way that you move is your air, and the way that you think is your spark. And when those three elements come together, the natural result is fire, right? And if any of the three elements are missing, there's no fire. So the overriding narrative there is the comprehensiveness of the lifestyle that we're trying to teach everybody. All three of those lifestyle domains have to be in place. All three cylinders have to be firing. Say yes if you guys get that. Yes, good. Okay, so we covered fuel, how you eat. Tonight we're going to be doing the air workshop. Next month, I believe it's a couple of weeks, 3 weeks out, I'm going to be doing the spark workshop. So it's about your headspace and your thought life, etc. So I'm psyched to teach that. Was one of my favorite ones. We brought you guys here tonight because I wanted to introduce you to CrossFit, and because I think this is the best delivery mechanism for what we would consider innately intelligent movement patterns. In other words, functional training. So I'll tell you my own story how I found CrossFit. I've been training, working out like most people, traditional weightlifting as an athlete. I played sports in college. I've always been super athletic and fit my whole life just by working out, doing most of the things everybody does, see how fast you can run, see how much you can bench, and look at the squats, sort of the traditional stuff. And it was sort of a separation between training, almost weightlifting and strength building, and the sports and the application of it. And then as I got older, I started playing rugby, which involved more running and functional stuff came into it, and then I started surfing more and more and more, and I started to move away from like the traditional weight training, and I wanted to start to get fit because I started surfing in some really competitive places. So I found that, on these occasional trips, I was just getting my butt kicked every time I'd go surfing someplace good because my skills were there, but my fitness wasn't. You guys get that? So I started to dive the fitness world and saying, okay, so what is the most effective, efficient way to get really strong and fit and really true fitness? Because what I found as I was studying wellness is that fitness doesn't necessarily equal wellness, okay? I think we know some people that are working out and they look like they're in good shape and they might be strong and they might be able to run a mile in a great time or run a marathon, but they're not exactly fully healthy. You guys get that? So we know that fitness is a critical part of wellness, but it's not the full picture. So as I was putting together the Bonfire program, I wanted to find out what's a really efficient, effective way to get really, truly fit. And I kept coming across this concept of functional training. So functional training is really training movements, not muscles. So I said, yeah, that seems to make sense. And I kept coming back, and all the literature was agreeing that if you train movements, real movements, not just training muscles, like instead of sitting down doing leg extensions or laying down doing leg curls, if you learned how to do a real squat, you'd be incorporating all those, you'd be training a movement instead of just training a muscle. So as I was studying deeper and deeper, I found that, this term CrossFit kept coming up. So I kind of made a mental note of it, and I started to dive that space a little bit. I found it really intriguing because all the literature talked about short interval, high intensity training. So this is something that you see all the time. They compare which athletes got the best results. And they used all the Olympic studies, and they would look at these teams of athletes. We had this really intensive training that was going on, and these coaches that would take different approaches. And one of these famous coaches named Dr. Izumi Tabata came up with this specific way of training his speed skating team, the Japanese speed skating team. He split them in half. And he did one, which was really traditional, huge volumes, long distance speed skating with these short interval, high intensity workouts, called now known as Tabata workouts, where these guys on this half of the team would be training for 3, 4, 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. Where these guys were training for 4 minutes. They were doing 30-second intervals, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off for 8 rounds. 4-minute bursts of high-intensity training. Guess which side won? High-intensity guys. They ended up getting silver and bronze the first year that they started incorporating that. So I said, that's really interesting. So I start seeing these things all showing up in the literature. Short interval, high-intensity, functional training. And then I started reading about variety and how you really have to mix it up. And that really spoke to me because I'm talking about a comprehensive wellness lifestyle. Well, comprehensive training style seemed to make sense to me because I wanted to be strong and I wanted to be fit, I wanted to be fast, I wanted to have flexibility and agility and balance, etc. So constantly varying everything just seemed to make sense, and that's where all your benefits are coming from. And then intensity, and that's where all the goods are. If you read any of the literature in physiology, where you're looking to do things like undue metabolic derangement, as we've all, we talked about in the fuel workshop, how most people have screwed up their sensitivity and their physiological relationship with sugar. Remember we talked about insulin and insulin spiking and the fat storage hormone? Most of us have got our metabolism, our physiology so out of whack that, we've got to reconcile that. And training, fitness is one half of the equation. Of course, fixing the diet style is the other half of the equation, right? So intensity, this is where all the goods live, okay? There's different ways to define intensity, but essentially, you could add weight, you could add time, or you could just work harder and compress everything and do it all in less time, okay? So when I started putting all these things together, I'm like, man, I got to find these things. And then, I'll tell you, something really organic happened. I had a couple of my patients come into the office, and I was watching them over about a 6-month period. It was a father and a son. They were both pretty fit to begin with. But I literally watched the metamorphosis of a dad who was like 56 and a son that was like 25 who had played semi-pro baseball. So he had a pretty good physique to begin with, and this dad was just a shit house, to begin with. So I watched their bodies literally change, like the body fat coming off of them, the back spreading out, the muscles. Finally, I literally was just like, okay, guys, I need to know. What are you guys doing? I thought they were on the bean or something, And I'm looking at them, it's like, I could literally see them changing. Because, I'm their chiropractor. So I'm checking their spines, they get their shirts off, so I'm watching this change. And they're like, CrossFit. I almost fell over. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's all I've been reading about and studying about. That's it, I'm in. And that afternoon, I met them, and I went for my first CrossFit workout. And I never looked back. So what I can tell you is you're in an awesome place. Now, this is one of the CrossFits that has sort of been spun off of the original CrossFit that I started training at. But I'll tell you what, I train at a couple of CrossFits, and I come here just for the camaraderie and the awesome coaching. Fantastic coaching. And when we were putting together the Bonfire program, I've been taking care of patients for 15 years. I've seen 7,500 people. And, part of my responsibility as a doctor is to help people get the best health outcomes, right? As a chiropractor, I'm not just adjusting their spines. I'm trying to help shift their lifestyles. So when we wrote the Bonfire program, we recognized one truth that transcends all people, and that it's really easy to start programs, but it's really hard to stay to them. Say yes if you guys get that, okay? It's not just starting things, it's sticking to them, okay? So what we did is we are, we have ownership over the wellness paradigm. We know the science. We're students of behavioral psychology because we want to help people stick to programs. We want to make it easier for people to start and stay with it. So as we look at behavioral psychology, what I look at is there's 3 circles that you want to make sure are in place. You want to make sure that you have a community, and that's this first circle. And that's really what this place is about. It's an unbelievable community of people. And I don't mean just this place, this CrossFit. I mean the CrossFits that I've been to, and I've been to 25 of them, okay? There's an unbelievable community. And I should have ended there because I think it's the most important one. And the second thing is leadership. These guys come off of a school, a science of physiology, a science of training and fitness. This is a school. You don't come here to work out, and these aren't personal trainers. These aren't rep counters. They're not going to throw you a towel. They're not going to let you throw in the towel. These guys will grind you. And they'll start you wherever you are. And, I've watched them take little old ladies that I've sent over in their 70s and turn them into women who couldn't get out of a chair to people who would throw a broomstick over their head and bang out perfect overhead squats. And it might have taken them a year to get there, but they will never turn back. They will never look back. And I've also seen them take top athletes and bring out their absolute best and find the gear that they weren't using before. So the leadership, you have this incredible education that happens. It's like joining like a karate dojo, where you learn all these new skill sets, and you have somebody who's like a sensei who's leading you along. I've been doing this for 3.5 years. Every time I do something, JP will pick up something on my form, or Alicia will tell me, she'll pick up something that's very minor, a tweak, makes a huge difference for my technique. The accountability, the standardization, and the feedback that makes it really personal. I show up here because I know these guys are looking for me. And then right here, F, vitamin fun. It's fun. If you're to stick to anything, you got to enjoy it. You got to have a great time. And as you guys watch here tonight, for those of you who got to watch that workout, the truth is it doesn't have to be fun to be fun. All right? And when we get here together, we love to watch each other work as hard as you can and just grind it out. And we lay on the floor and crack jokes afterwards. And it's just really a big sweaty mess of people who've just done everything they could and they left nothing behind. So ending there, I'm going to call up, Joe, you going to start it? JP? Let me introduce you to these guys. Can you guys give them a round of applause?